This is Laura Has a Podcast, the first episode of the hosting series. We are live at the Michaels parking lot with Samantha McCanada, the host of Panama, Maluku, Spain, and eventually Port Royal. Hi,
Hello.
Sam. Hi. So, I thought that we're going to do this hosting series. I really want the people who have not hosted yet or have considered hosting to start listening to this because I want you all to know that it is work and it's not going to be the little fun time, flawless thing you think it's going to be. All of us hosts have had issues. We've all made mistakes, and it's time to admit them, but we've all done good things that you guys can learn from. And I think we should get Sam out of the way because, you know, there's some controversy in her past, but also a really good season in Maluku, so we can learn a lot. Isn't that right, Samantha?
Yep.
We're gonna start from the beginning, okay? Token Teens was the first season you played, your first introduction to this community, which really wasn't a community yet. I mean, you'd all just discovered what Skype was. So what during Token Teens made you decide that you wanted to host one of these?
I thought the format was cool, and I think Caitlin and I discussed the idea of hosting one because we thought we could bring different ideas to it. So we put it together, made applications, and so began Panama.
It seemed like, yeah, it was an interesting format. There really wasn't that much twist, but we're going to go with that. That's the theme with you. You really don't go very twist heavy. You're kind of...
I like to leave it more in the cast's hands because if you put too many twists, I find that it just ruins the game for the people, and it's harder for them to do good gameplay.
Yeah. So what was the casting process the olden days? Was it hard to get people? I mean, back in the earlier days, there was a lot of, like, Jack and Katie had played every season.
Well, for Token Teens, I remember that Mandy just messaged everyone, and the first 24 people to say yes were in the season. And then Caitlin and I decided that we would start applications. So we received like 24 applications, and we had 24 people in our season because we didn't want to turn down like 4 people because that'd be mean. So we just extended to 4 more people, and then we had some people drop out, so we replaced it. But overall, we just casted anyone who applied.
So, I mean, Panama is interesting because I think people are like, oh, that's a season where 5 people quit, but it brought us Phil, it brought us Wes.
It brought us Hannah's redemption.
Casey. But we're going to discuss this. What's the biggest mistake you made with Panama?
The biggest mistake I made in Panama was I accidentally calculated the scores incorrectly, and one of the contestants caught it 2 weeks later. I don't know why she was looking at the scores 2 weeks later. Could have all lived our lives without knowing about it. And then I tried to repair the situation, and it did not go over well, and just led to a bunch of unfortunate events that we don't need to talk about.
But we're going to. Quitgate. Just say... What I will say with...
Adam's a bad person.
Yeah, okay, Adam Seitz is the ruiner of everything good in the world. But, what I will say is I've been thinking about this, and I was like, I don't know what I would do if 5 people quit at once. Like, I don't know how I would deal with such a crisis.
It was not easy.
What is crisis management skills people need?
Stay calm. Don't lash out at your cast. There are always people in the community to help you with the situation. Like, I know when Joe had the issue, like, he came to me and we discussed it. I'm pretty sure he went to other people as well, and he handled the situation beautifully because he had people who he could talk to about it. So back then, I only had Mandy then because she was out of the game, so, like, she was consoling me. Caitlin and I were, like, crying.
Mandy wants to know who your favorite mass quitter was. Not that quitting should ever be encouraged, and you're a piece of shit.
No, quitting is never encouraged. I don't respect anyone who quits, so none of them.
Oh, you're that Mandy, you're no fave.
Mandy didn't mass quit.
Oh, that's true. She kind of did, though.
Yes, but before the mass quit happened.
Yeah, so she wanted to know why you didn't throw yourself off a building that night, clearly because you was calm. Apparently there was an ass face incident.
That was before the mask quit.
Okay. Was that another mistake?
Yeah, well, we tried to. What happened with the scoring on that challenge that I talked about earlier? We tried to talk to the tribe that would have gone to tribal council and try to repair the situation a little bit. And so we spoke to them, and we had an idea. I don't remember exactly what it was, but 3 out of 4 of them didn't like it, and Ryan wasn't there. So we said, okay, no problem, we won't do it. So then Ryan comes in, and he starts yelling at us, and I'm like, we're not doing it, and he's continuing yelling at us for the idea that we're not doing. And so he leaves the chat in anger, and I'm like, ass face. Katie sent him the message that said ass face. And then later, like a few months later, when Ryan and I started talking again, we weren't talking after that, we found out that it was Evelyn who told Ryan the thing, like the idea, but didn't tell him that we decided not to do it.
Oh my god.
It all could have been avoided had Ryan gotten the correct information.
So, when you're doing like a format change or a twist change, I think as much communication and explaining it many times in many different ways to your contestants is probably smart.
Yeah, I like to explain things to make it sound like you're explaining to a 2-year-old. Not to say that the contestants are not capable of understanding, but just to make sure that everything is clear. There's no loopholes. You don't want anyone finding loopholes. Because I look for loopholes when I'm a contestant. So I don't want anyone like me.
So, if you could take all the knowledge you have from hosting Spain and Maluku and go back and do Panama again, would you make any format changes or twist changes or anything?
In Panama, we had a match chat for the whole game. Everyone was separated by tribes, and the strategy behind that was to allow the people to talk who were already friends so that they wouldn't talk in private. And that didn't work because they still spoke in private.
True. I mean, how many group chats do we all have playing these games right now?
Right, but back then, like, there weren't as many group chats. There's, like, 8 people who returned from Tocantins. Those are the 8 people who are still here. Actually, no, I don't think so even. But, yeah, like, not everyone was in the amount of group chats. There was only, like, 20 people in the community back then, so but I wouldn't do that chat anymore.
So, especially with newbies, because you don't want to get them in the habit, like I really didn't like with Molly how they did Day Zero, especially when there are org people in the cast that are used to having one world all the time.
Yeah, so then they're like, oh, but I already know this person, so I'm just going to talk to them.
Yeah, so it's going to be really hard to get them out of that. You have to freaking say start it off right away, like, this is how it's going to be. So I would say, don't use Day Zero twist for newbies.
Or returning players either. That did not work well in Adversaries.
I don't know. I didn't want to talk to MJ's ass the second he was gone. I didn't need him. He was worthless to me. Anyway. So, we're going to move on to Maluku, what people consider your best work. Maluku had a very sketchy beginning, and I think, was this the first season that you didn't take applications and you went through the process of recruiting?
Yes, I recruited everyone. Like, all the fans as well.
How do you think that is versus applications?
I think I had specific people that I wanted. I knew for a while that I wanted Mary, Jesse, MJ, because I followed their blogs for a long time and they hadn't played Tumblr Survivor, so I had my eyes on them for months. So I knew that I wanted people like that, and then Casey and I went through like blogs and finding people. We spoke to people, and we took the time to like talk to people to see if they were interested. And then with the returnees, I think a lot of them were flattered to be asked back rather than having to apply. Yeah,
I think it made a lot of returnees were mad that you didn't put applications out. I think because it's like I can't even get considered or fight for my reasoning why I should be in this cast because she won't do this. But at the same time, like you said, I think it made people feel more kind of honored to be playing that they were asked by you,
right?
To make them take the game more seriously.
Yeah, I think, like, they would understand that, like, oh, Sam and Casey really wanted me there. I have to do them proud.
Except you, Mandy.
Yeah.
God damn it, Mandy. Anyway, the twist of Maluku, did you like them, or would you rejigger them around if you could do it again?
I think everything worked out fine. I received some criticism for the day 1 twist, where we swapped one person from each tribe, and that was Molly and Fox, who ended up getting the short end of the stick. But it worked out well for Molly.
Yeah, I just feel like Fox got screwed over while Molly just got like sweet passage.
Right, but I think had Molly not aligned herself correctly, then she wouldn't have made it past because people were targeting her.
True.
And I think there were things that Fox could have done. I mean, it was really hard in his situation, but I think that made things more interesting.
Do you ever feel guilty when a player gets screwed over by one of your twists?
No one has really ever gotten screwed over.
Because it's the most power a host has over the game.
Right, I'm not a twist person, so...
Yeah, like...
I think that's the biggest twist I ever did.
Like, we'll get to it when I get interviewed by Queen Jessie, apparently, but, you know, I got Dustin's blood on my hands, so I've got to live with that. So there's nothing in Maluku you would change?
Maybe one or two of the favorites castings, but that's about it.
Oh yeah, since we're on Maluku, let's get to this. You're a big proponent of live tribal council. You've told me that every tribal council should be live. I'm a big proponent of just do it in the tag and let's lay out all the questions and answers so everybody can watch and think about it. Where do you still lie on that?
You mean secret tribal council?
Yeah.
I think it worked very well in Maluku because no one knew what was going on the other tribes, so they just assumed. And then especially if the tribes swap with the division of the fans versus favorites and people lying to each other, I think it creates a different way you play the game, because if you see a tribal council, you know if an idol was played. So then you know that the idol's not there. But if someone says an idol was played, but you don't know that happened, so you have to trust their word. Or it also was good when we did double tribal and we would do the reward, and it gave us something to, like, they can sit in on tribal council.
My thing is, I just didn't believe that would be a good enough reward, because I'm thinking about Newfoundland. It's been better in Olympics, but like every time I would ask tribal questions, they wouldn't take it seriously, and they would just answer like one-word answers or not answer at all or something stupid.
In Maluku, they took it pretty seriously, I think, and seeing the way the votes fell was also important.
Yeah, I think a lot of those little format changes probably depends on the cast as well, because like I could never do a live final tribal council with like the Newfoundland cast, because they were all on such different schedules.
I had to do it with the Spain cast, because I would have had no final two if I didn't do it.
Yeah, so I think if when you're hosting, you need to just, even if nothing interesting is going on, pay attention to your tribe chats, pay attention to who's the most active and who you're stuck with, like towards the end, to see what you're going to do with your little format.
Yeah, it's really all based on personality. You have to assess your cast a lot to see what you can and can't do.
Yeah, like people give Newfoundland a lot of shit for being long, but there was a lot of times where I had to make 48-hour deadlines because I was like, I don't trust this cast to get their shit done. And I'd hate to see some good players get like voted out because some people didn't get their shit done. But then again, I don't think I'd do it again, but we can get to that in my podcast. Grace and Matt have Fans vs. Favorites 2. Do you have any advice for them since you hosted Fans vs. Favorites 1?
Just make it good.
Just make it good?
Yeah. I mean, they've been planning for a long time, and we planned for a really long time. So hopefully everything lives up to the expectations, and just the cast enjoys it. The most important thing that I learned about hosting is that the cast enjoys it. It doesn't matter what the viewers think because they're not in the game.
True. But the only thing though that bugs me about people not paying attention to like newbie seasons, and I really don't pay attention to other seasons, so I'm bad about this, is that fucking some of these people want to go and host an all-star season, and I think a lot of seasons have the returnees snubbed because nobody paid attention to know who the good players were.
Right, like a lot of the same people are being cast over and over and over again. And it's just like, there are some really cool and awesome people who are not getting cast because you don't know them.
Yeah, I almost feel like we should come up with like a recommendation list where like when you're done hosting a season you say, these people are really good to host and they make the game really interesting, and then maybe like a list of, I don't care if this person's your friend or not, you shouldn't host them in your season because they're not going to bring much to the game.
Right, like Matt and Grace asked me who from Spain they should take and who from Maluku they should take. And like I gave them my list, like not based on friendships or anything, but based on the criteria that they were looking for.
And you did the same thing during Maluku, didn't you? You asked Ryan who from Ireland,
who from Redemption Island.
You got Fox because we have the fan favorite poll.
Yeah, well he was the first fan favorite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was a no-brainer.
So we're gonna move on to Spain. Since this was a season that a lot of people didn't follow because it was all newbies, and there was
the drama in the tag.
Yeah. What are things that we missed?
I think you missed the beautiful Heather Blindside. That was insane.
I know. I keep hearing
about
it.
It happened an hour before Tribal. This is supposed to be Sarah going, and then Heather's like, by the way, I have an idol. Oh no, they thought that Sarah was going, and Heather's like, by the way, I have an idol, and I'll just play it on Sarah so she doesn't go. And it's actually going to be Steven going, but Teddy wanted to flush the idol, so he voted for Heather to flush the idol and get her out.
Yeah, that's one of those moments where I'm voting last minute might be a good thing.
Yeah.
So, you were taking applications again. How'd that application process go versus when you were doing applications in Panama? Because there's obviously a lot more people to go for.
Right, we got a few org people who would message me on Skype and beg me to cast them. And if you want to be cast, begging is not the way to do it. Because those people did not get in.
Yeah.
And it just makes you look pathetic.
Had a few of those with Olympics looking at you, Troy. It doesn't matter, you ain't gonna listen to this.
We had someone put as their favorite player Rachel Folger, so I knew that they were fake. So you have to look at it and try to weed out the fake applications and the sock puppets, because sometimes those people are applying. It's not right. People shouldn't do it,
yeah.
But sometimes they do. I mean, for all I know, someone else's favorite player could have been Rachel Folger, but with me hosting, I think they were just trying to suck up.
Yeah.
And then you also have to be wary of people who have played together before and who are applying together.
Yeah.
So you always have to ask what games they've played previously, if they know anyone else applying. Even if they lie, most people will be truthful, some people will lie. So if you can weed out like 1 or 2 pregame alliances, like as many pregame alliances that you can get out of the game is the best. Because those just ruin the game.
Oh, you're not echoing, by the way. It's just I'm not wearing headphones. It's gonna be fine on my end.
Okay. It's not echoing anymore.
But anyway, yeah, let's talk about the lockdown, because Spain has criticism for not much going on in the tag.
Well, it started with the Garrett incident at the selfie gate, when everyone was posting their selfies and everyone thought that Garrett was attractive, and then they watched his YouTube videos and started a Garrett fan club. And then the other contestants resented the fact that he was getting attention publicly, and they didn't fully understand what the audience knew. And I guess that's like my bad a bit, because I didn't tell them that they weren't like getting confessions and stuff, but I thought that was assumed. But so they were kind of insulted, so I had to like tell people to stop, and they were targeting Garrett based on the attention he was getting. And then people were really sensitive to what was being said in the tag throughout the season. So like if someone like Heather was voted out and she got like a lot of like, oh, I'm sad to see you go, whatever, but then someone else would get voted out and no one would say like anything. So when they were like, that's not fair, like it sucks that they're not saying something for everyone. I was like, well, a lot of people know Heather, and this is why. Like I had to explain it. And then it just got to the point where people were being targeted based on what was being said in the tag. So I had to like put it on lock, and I think that worked out better in the end.
Yeah, for the players.
Yeah, it's all like, I don't care that anyone didn't see the season. That's not what's important to me. What's important is that the game played out how it should have played out, and no one was influenced by what other people were saying.
Who do you think from Spain should return if someone's casting an all-star returning season?
I'd love to see Teddy back. Adam would be great. I don't know if he would come back. Fraser, Heather, I think Steven would be good. Alicia would definitely be really interesting to see back. I think most of everyone who made the merge would be good to come back.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I think for it's okay if you don't want viewers to be talking. I think a lot of people are doing all-star seasons because they want attention on their season.
Yeah, I don't think that's the right reason to do it.
Yeah, and then but at the same time, it's about the people you're hosting. It's not about you.
Like, I find it very difficult to watch a season that I'm not in because I don't know what's going on. So all I have from Olympics is what the 3 people I know in it are telling me. So I have a one-sided story. So I can't properly follow a season.
I know, if we could live in a world where you viewers wouldn't have friends in the game and not tell them anything, maybe we could do shit like live feeds and stuff, but we just can't trust you motherfuckers.
I don't think it would ever work.
We can't make you an episode. I mean, I played that Pokemon Big Brother for a moment, and they did something cool when the season was over. They, took the avatars and took, settings and, tried to make, a video that showed, all the strategy talk. That was really cool. I wish we could do something like that, but, as far as while the game's going on, it's just not possible in the online format.
No, but I think it's also important for a host to keep records of the confessions, post everything by episode.
Yeah. Oh, also, future host, me and Ryan have this great confessional system now, where, you know how, in Newfoundland everything was fucked up?
Mm-hmm.
We found a way to prevent that. We just made a Google Doc that just has name, and then there's a paragraph under it for confessional, and if you click the confessional link on the blog, it'll take you right to that Google form, and you submit it, and then it comes to us, and it's already time-stamped in order. We're not going to lose it. So I think
that's smart.
Yeah,
Good
I think
job,
so. People who are about to host, try using that system. It's really good. You don't have to, Fox right now. He's got ones messed up. He's got IM ones and submission ones. He's got to organize and put together. And
yeah, in Spain, we didn't accept anything over Skype. Everything had to be on the blog, and if it wasn't on the blog, we didn't accept it.
Yeah, I know. I was a proponent of IM confessionals because I got a lot more in Sapphire, but Sapphire was also a 16-person cast and didn't take really long. So now I've totally changed my tune on that. Yeah.
Benji and I were in different time zones while hosting Spain, so we wanted everything to be recorded on the blog, so in case one of us was posting and the other one was asleep, we wouldn't have an issue there.
Also, I think a thing to talk about on this first hosting podcast, if you're going in with a co-host, that's cool if they're your friend and all, but you guys really need to keep the communication line open. I made this mistake in Newfoundland as well. You need to talk about everything you're going to post, any tweaks you make, everything.
And everything you do, you need to talk about. Make sure you're both cool with it. Because fighting does happen.
Yeah. And it sucks if you're newbies or any players at all have to be affected by bullshit going on between the co-hosts. But
yeah, that's not fair.
As far as the tag goes, what are things for these seasons where we do public tribal councils and stuff? What are things the viewers can do to react but not influence anything?
I think anything that suggests that something happened. I know last night after the Olympics tribal, some people said some things that suggested something, and that could influence what the other tribe is thinking.
Yeah, looking at you, Nathan, if you're listening to this. Anyway.
So I don't think that those types of things should be allowed, because it's unfair to the other people in the game who aren't going to say something.
Yeah.
Because some people don't want to post in the tag, especially the Curse of the Morgan gif. And I think it's just, you can post a reaction or, I'm so sad to see this person go. But if you're taking it beyond, oh, that sucks that they're out, then just don't say anything.
Yeah,
Keep it in the viewing lounge.
I think Ireland got to the point where Ryan had to tell us that all we were allowed to do in the tag. He even, because that's when Laura as a podcast started, he wouldn't let me put my stuff in the tag, even though I didn't know, because I knew what was going on in the game, because people would tell me. And he made it to where all that was allowed was reaction gifs.
Yeah, I think we have that in Maluku as well.
Or what the fuck, or you could say something like, why the fuck was that vote 3-1-1-1-1-1? That's stupid.
I think I also had the jury rule where they were only allowed to react in GIFs.
Yeah.
Because on the show you can see the jury's reaction to things, so I think that's alright if they're on the jury.
Yeah, I mean, heroes versus villains, I think Jack kind of crossed the line many times.
Yeah.
So we need to prevent that. But yeah, do you have anything else to say about any of your seasons or any advice you'd give these people signing up?
I think just make sure that you're ready for it. It's a very big time commitment. You have to be home every night to post. You have to make sure that you're in constant communication with people in case they need something. People are looking for an idol, they want an answer right away. If you don't answer, they're mad. So you have to make sure that you're able to dedicate the right amount of time to host, and that you're passionate about hosting, because if you're not passionate about something, or if you're going to lose interest, your season's going to go in the dumps. It's not going to be good.
Yeah, also, if one of your contestants asks you a question, even if it's a stupid fucking question, still answer them to let them know that you are going to communicate with them, and that you are not ignoring them.
And it's also important to stay in touch with your cast before the season starts to make sure that they're still interested. If someone's not responding to your Skype request, they're not going to be active.
Yeah, also another thing that we did with the casting of Olympics is we messaged the newbies we were going to take on their blog and told them to add us to Skype. So if they could take the effort to do that, they were probably going to be active.
Yeah, that's smart.
So yeah, that's it for tips and trips on this hosting one. Next we might have Mandy. Jesse's going to be interviewing me, and I will make sure we have enough time those times to ask for questions.
Oh, and I do want to promote my hosting bootcamp.
Oh yeah, tell us about that.
So within the next week or so, I'll be making the official announcement, but I'm gonna host a hosting bootcamp because I've had my fair share of mistakes and ups and downs in hosting. So I think I've kind of been there, done that with that kind of stuff. So for future hosts or past hosts or anyone who's just looking for an experience to simulate hosting, I'm basically gonna run a boot camp on how to run a season. Not really dictate how to do it, but basically the first thing would be set up a blog, get a logo, make rules, come up with a twist, and then you can get feedback on it. Yeah. So every week would be a new challenge, which would help you develop the season. So 1 week would be make an immunity challenge. Next week would be do a tribe swap. How are you going to handle hidden immunity idols? Let's do final tribal council, cast the season. So I'll have people who aren't participating send in fake applications so they can look at them and see what they would want to cast.
Yeah, it sounds really smart. I really hope people get in line to do it.
And then also I'll have people come in and be put into situations. So someone might be put into a situation where someone's cheating, and then they would be assessed on how they handle that. So it won't only be me. I'll ask other people to come in and help me who aren't participating in the thing. But there's no elimination. Everyone will participate in everything, so everyone can get the experience. Especially for new hosts, I think it's good practice.
Yeah, I really encourage people who haven't hosted yet to please do that. Even if you've hosted a Big Brother game or something before, this is way different.
I've hosted on the org before. There's nothing compared to hosting on Tumblr.
Yeah, yeah. I
find the players on Tumblr are a lot more dedicated.
Yeah, and in order for them to keep being dedicated, you need to be there to help them. Because if you're not dedicated to the season, they're not going to be. Because like you said, God forbid you do not answer that idol question right when it comes. So yeah, we're going to wrap up. We're at the 30-minute mark. Please listen to this podcast if you haven't hosted yet. Please do learn from our mistakes and things we did right and build that upon your season. Thank you.